doesn't look like me. Jack Black is a great actor. He could capture the intensity and the rest of it. And he's smart enough to play it straight. You know, not try to make a joke of it. Tom Cruise. Well, Tom Cruise is short. No, so is Jack Black. No.
It's book any good?
I liked it quite well. All right. No matter what you came up with, work with that. Some of you may have seen an image. Let's just share for the sake of it. What did you? Are we on? I hope so. We're on. Right. What did you come up with? Anybody? What images? What came into your mind?
A test tube.
A test tube? Okay. If that's what works for you. You can close this door. It's an impressive door. Somebody else. Yes, doctor. A butterfly. Very good. Anybody else? Did you draw it on your hand? That's pretty cool. The sleeper must awaken. Yes.
An alchemist's crucible.
An alchemist's crucible? Somebody else. Anybody? Yes.
You know, I was talking about when I go backpacking, I always think of this stuff. I drew the sun beating down on a hillside, converting fairly obnoxious stuff into very healthy.
Good. Good. I like it. Somebody else? Anybody come up with more of a logo than a visual image?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I thought about the process of each of the things you talked about, transmutation,
Right.
recycling, purifying,
See it right there.
and sort of what I would symbolically represent those processes to mean, and then I combine the positive final one.
That's really good. Hey, hey Yates, can you do us a huge favor? This looks so good, his process for doing it. I want to teach off of this. Could you go to the business center and just, it's right, you know where it is, and make enough copies for everyone sitting here? Just that page on the right? Yeah, that's fabulous. Well done. Kol hakavod.
Well, in that case, I'll let you know that Manchester United won.
Yay. Yes, go ahead.
Shoreline on the beach.
What? Shoreline on the beach. Anybody else? Anyone not come up with anything else? What did you come up with? Lewis.
I came up with there was an image. I came up with an image of a snake having its fangs on a cup. It makes anti-venom.
That's excellent. They make anti-venom from the poison. That's brilliant. Yes, sir. This is pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
This machine that has a lot of pressure on it, whatever you put underneath it, it forms something like really beautiful.
A machine that puts things under pressure and it forms something, whatever. I don't care. If it works for you, that's what you do. Huh? Yes? Go ahead.
Gloves, imaginary gloves.
What?
Imaginary gloves.
Imaginary gloves. And what do they do?
Anything you want.
Okay, I like it. So here's what we're going to do with this. And when do you do this? Well, here's what I want you to do. Anytime, I'm going to show you a little ritual to do, but first let's talk about the use of it. What's the purpose of it and when do you do it? Fair enough? All right. This can be used in several places. You can use it when and if you find old or disturbing memories popping up in your head. Like you're going down the street and you remember when you blew it with Sally Jane Rochcrott or Debbie Joe Blowjob Lips or whatever. You know how sometimes those memories will bug you? Like, why the fuck did I do that? Yes? That's when you're going to put this symbolic image of transmutation right there in the center of whatever it is you're seeing. You're going to smack dab it right in there like a virus. The idea here is it's like a virus. How a virus will hijack programming and take it over and use it to make copies of itself. This is sort of like a virus that you're going to put inside of any and all disturbing memories. Yes?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes. Now here's how you set it up. First of all, you set it up by doing that breathing I showed you this morning. Yes? But I want you to do it for like 10 minutes. So there are a couple of ways to do it. First of all, if you find things cropping up spontaneously during the day, immediately take that image and just mentally take your hand, look here, take your hand and put it in those images and see it going into those images. That's being transmuted, transformed, recycled, purified, refined. Get it? So you can use it spontaneously. If something happens to come up, if suddenly you find yourself having these memories or dwelling on things, put that image there. You get it?
Similar to 3D mining.
No, 3D mind is much different. 3D mind works from the inside outward. It takes emotional states, pulls them apart, finds the driver, balances that, puts that back inside the emotional state. Once the emotional state's been balanced, then it encourages you to form a new belief that supports it. Different process, completely different. Same goal, different process entirely. I love 3D mind. Don't get me wrong, it's brilliant. Different way of approaching the problem completely. All right. So you can use it extemporaneously. Like it's the equivalent of back. Like if you scrape your foot, you just pull it out and put it on the back teen, right? So if you're in a situation where suddenly memories come up, you use this. Get it? Now, ritually, where you plan to do it, here's where you're going to plan to do it. What you're going to do is take 10 minutes a day to do that breath that I showed you this morning, right? Yeah. Then what you're going to do is, I'm going to show you how to create a circle, step inside or lay down inside that circle, and then you're going to evoke this image of transmutation. And what you're going to do is bring up any remaining memories, any remaining emotion, and you're going to see this image of transmutation going inside of it. You understand? You know how to do timeline? Does everyone know how to find their timeline? Let's do a little bit of timeline before we go any further, okay? The notion behind timeline is that people store their memories subjectively in geographic locations. For example, for some people, all their past memories are to the left, their present is here in front of their face, and their future is to their right. You get it? So let's just assume that's true. I'll give you a timeline. You know, this shit about eliciting timelines is mostly bullshit. Just pick one and people will stick with it. So let's just assume your future is to your left, so anything in your past is to your left, your present is here, and your future is over here to the right, okay? So what you're going to do with this ritual, we're going to show you how to do it. First, you're going to start with 10 minutes of that breathing that I showed you today. You follow? Yeah. You're going to create a circle. You can lay down, sit inside of it. You can create the circle around your bed. You're going to lay down, and you're going to take that image of transmutation, of refining, purifying. Yes? Yeah. You're going to put it inside you're going to find those memories that disturb you. You're going to put that image inside of them. Yes? And you're going to just say a little invocation, something along the lines of, as I now put this image inside of these memories, all of this energy, all this emotional energy, all the energy within them is being converted, refined, purified to the pure achievement of my vision of who I am already becoming every day more and more. Do you get it? You're going to proactively do this. And what you'll find is you only need to do it a few times, and then you'll find that burden of emotion is lifted from you entirely. It won't be there anymore. Now, occasionally what you'll have to do is occasionally get into situations where some things will still come up. Here's the thing that Charlene will teach you. There's information contained in your energetic field, and it gets locked in with emotion. When emotion gets released, sometimes this information will float up in front of your face. It's only floating up so you can learn from it and then dismiss it, all right? So, here's the way it works. Step number one is you're going to find a place where you can do this uninterrupted. So find a place. Some of you may also find there's some side effects. Look up here, before we go any further. When you do this deep kind of purification and transformational work, sometimes what happens is stuff that's even more deeply trapped, that's been outside your conscious awareness, will come up for you to work with. So you purify and transmute that. Sometimes, look at me, it can be helpful to have a compassionate guide there with you when that takes place. So I recommend that you get some kind of body work. Sometimes, occasionally, you'll find currents of electricity just pouring through your body where you can't sit still. You may find volcanic release of sexual energy beyond anything you've ever experienced before. That's okay. You may find that you suddenly flop around on the floor because a lot of energy that's been trapped and suppressed, when you suddenly take things that were dangerous to look at and you make them safe, a lot of energy that's been locked into keeping that stuff suppressed is going to come out. You may find yourself manic and not, a lot of things can happen. So it can be useful to have a compassionate witness, someone who does really good body work. Yes? One of the things I would recommend is you look up Stanislav Grof. Grof, holotropic breath work. Sometimes when these energies get released, occasionally, look up here, sometimes symptoms will seemingly worsen just before you have a total release and a total healing breakthrough. I'll get there in a minute. Just hold on. Let me make this little sidetrack. This is an important user's note. Sometimes when deep healing takes place, symptoms may temporarily worsen just before an entirely new way of organizing your thinking, believing, feeling, and acting takes over. It's like their last gasp. So if the symptoms temporarily worsen, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But it can help to have a compassionate person alongside you when that's happening. So get body work, get massage if you do this. If you do, it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does. So I'm just making you perfectly prepared.
What do you mean by body work?
I mean massage. Okay? Thank you. I'll pass those out. You can give him his book back. Brilliant job. Sometimes stuff will come up, not always. So I also recommend this holotropic breath work from Stanislav Grof. Just do a Google search on him and find someone in your area who does holotropic breath work. And only do this, listen to me, only do this if you find that a lot of energy is getting released in your body. You understand? What's happening is a lot of stuff that's been trapped suddenly feels safe to come up. You may feel currents of electricity. If that happens, go get some holotropic breath work. They'll help you to release that. You understand? Remember what I said? It's coming up to be, hold on, it's coming up to be handled, healed, learned from, and released. Sometimes the release can be intense and, I don't want to say painful, but it can be intense. It can help to have a guide there. Charlene is also a very good guide if you find that happening. Grof, G-R-O-F, like Frank. He wrote a brilliant book that I spent all summer reading called Beyond the Brain. I absolutely recommend it. He's a genius. Grof is a Czech psychiatrist who in the 60s did experiments with LSD. He would give LSD to psychotic patients, schizophrenic patients, and then he would guide them through the experience with music and breath work. And he had an incredible healing. I mean, he achieved astounding healing and recovery rates with these people. But of course, they shut him down eventually. So what I'm saying is just as a warning, sometimes when you do this, something may come. It may not. You may do perfectly fine. Just a warning. All right, so what you're going to do is find a place. Second thing is you're going to make a statement of intent. In any kind of ritual, we want to make a statement of intent. Now, after a while, this becomes so automatic that you don't have to make the statement anymore. It just naturally occurs to you. So you can make the statement of intent. Statement of intents take the following form. It is my intent to, or it is my will to. All right? So you make the statement of intent along the following lines. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's along these lines. It is my intent to, it is my intent to purify, refine, recycle, transmute, and redirect any and all remaining emotional energy that has not served me in this area of life. All right, and what you're going to do is you're gonna, what you're gonna do at that point is you're gonna close your eyes and do whatever you do to direct yourself into a nice trance. You can use the 3-3-3-2-2-1 method, whatever you do to put yourself in a little trance. So put yourself into a little bit of a trance. You'll already be in a trance just from the nature of doing this, yes? Yes?
Yep.
You're going to summon up your symbol for transmutation, whatever it is. Summon up your symbol for transmutation. I'm going to guide you through this. We're going to go through it as a group. I'm going to give you the steps, then we're going to go through it as a group, okay? Okay? Bring to mind your symbol for transmutation, whatever it may be. Yes?
Yes.
Bring it to mind. And then what I want you to do, look up here, is you're going to abstractly or symbolically or however realistically create, how can I put this? Create a symbolic representation of all those memories that have been disturbing you, whatever they are. You don't ever, listen, look at, here's the thing, look up here. Here's how you do this. What you can do is you can see a series of slides going all the way off to your left. You understand? You don't have to see the content in them. You can see slides, images, whatever. It just, or you know what I sometimes see? I see a bag of shit. It's like this big old tube filled with crap and painful feelings, all swirling around. You understand? Yeah. And I just put the symbol inside of that. So you can see images, or you can see a bag or something that represents all the emotion. You understand? Make some symbolic representation of the emotions that have not been serving you. You don't even have to access the memories inside, just the emotion. I see a huge tubular bag of shit and crap and brown goo and horrible colors and awful things. You understand? So make a symbolic representation of, yes?
So you don't think of a specific situation?
You don't have to think of a specific, you can. It's okay to think of a specific situation and you put the symbol inside of that. That's perfectly fine. That's great. Or you can find a gestalt. You know what a gestalt is? Of course you do. Yeah. You can find a gestalt that represents that whole subject area of your life.
Would you call that also a sigil? Is that also a sigil?
No, it's not a sigil. It's just a symbolic representation. An image that comes to mind. Yes? You get it?
Yeah.
And then you're going to apply the image of transmutation into that. Yes?
So are we fusing the two things together? Or
Yes, 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 yes. So, for example, if I can draw it, let me move the chair somewhat. What I imagine this in many different ways. Sometimes I imagine that there's that big tubular bag of resentment or whatever it is. I imagine it's going into a factory. I actually see the factory near El Segundo. It's going into the factory is refining it, and the energy comes out in a completely different color. And then that energy, after it's been refined, comes out in a completely different color and goes into a symbolic representation of my vision of how I'd like to be, of who I'm every day more and more becoming. Now look at me. This does not have, this is key, this is killer. This does not have to be vivid. It can be the most vague image you want. It can be blurry, it can be faint. Just get a sense that it's happening. You don't have to have vivid visualization here at all. Take that idea and throw it in the trash. So what you're going to do is, however you represent, it can be a single memory that keeps coming up. Like let's say it's the time you really got this close and totally blew it. It can be that one. It could be the emotion behind the memory, a symbolic representation of the emotion. So you see a garbage can filled with crap. It can be a gestalt that represents the entire subject matter, however that gestalt appears to you. The gestalt may appear as a series of slides, right? It's your unconscious come up with imagery that works to you. And so you're going to insert that symbol inside of it. Or you can take these and run it through your purification factory, whatever it is. The bottom line is, you're going to see it being converted to pure energy that's then redirected to the vision of how you want to be, of how you're already every day more and more becoming. Now, look at me. This is please get this point. This is the stumbling block for so many people. Look up here. It can be as vague as you want. It doesn't have to be real vivid. Do you understand? Just doing this, the mind knows how to do this anyway. The mind knows how to convert feelings into imagery and imagery back to feelings. That's what dreams do. You don't just dream about a raw emotion, you symbolically convert it to something. Yes? Your mind knows how to do this. The wiring is in there. So don't think you have to have some super vivid experience where you see it all. Sometimes you may, sometimes you may not. Even if you just get the sense that this is what's happening, you're setting the intent that something is being utilized and converted into something better. Does that make sense? Yeah. That image of who you're every day more and more becoming, I just see a stick figure that's smiling. That's it for me. You understand? Do you get my point? Do you get this point? So those are the steps, right? It can happen like this, or you can dwell on it. It can happen that quickly. Eventually what happens when you get into the habit of doing this, you'll be able to do it that fast. You'll be able to transmute things really quickly. Question?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're saying about two questions actually. On that last point about being vague,
Yeah.
it's all symbolic. Even the representation of you going forward into the future is also...
It's all symbolic.
Yeah.
I just see a stick figure. Sometimes I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I just get the notion that something is there.
Okay.
You don't have to see anything clearly here.
Right. Okay. Second, sorry.
It's the intent of what you're doing. You're directing your mind to take that emotional energy, and instead of suppressing it or chewing on it, see, there are two ways most people deal with emotional energy. They either suppress it, like my brother, and then it comes out somaticized. He gets very ill physically, or they dwell on it, like my sister. She just drinks down that poison over and over about how much pain she's in and life hurts, and okay? I don't want you to do either one of those. Transmute it. Don't suppress it. Speaking of suppression, there's the dynamic duo. Don't suppress it. They got presents from me. Fat chance. Don't suppress it, and don't keep swallowing it back down. If you swallow it back down, you're a drama queen like my sister. If you suppress it, you're going to get physically sick like my brother, who's got neurofibromyalgia. He doesn't sleep at night. He sleeps maybe 15 minutes a night. He's tried every known combination of drugs. Nothing works for him. He's considering the chemical equivalent of electroshock therapy. It's crazy shit because he suppresses all his emotions. My sister dwells on him. All she thinks about is pain, and her emotions are the most important things. And I'm like, transmute it. Experience it, transmute it.
Second
Yes.
question. On the mechanics of it, you talked about the timeline and this slideshow.
That's one possibility. You can see it as a series of slides and make duplicate copies. Make all sorts of copies of the symbol and insert them into the slides.
Okay, so that's the negative stuff and it's in the past.
Right,
So you're now talking about how that's transmuted.
right.
Are we going to do something with that in the future in the timeline?
Take all that energy
Just move
and put it into the vision of who you now are every day more and more becoming into your future. That's one alternative. That's one way to do it, Roger.
Sure.
Another way to do it is just see a whole huge big bag of crap being converted and pour that into the image of who you're, just an image of you. You don't have to do timeline. That's just one idea. I'm presenting different alternatives for you because something's going to appeal or catch someone in the room. Do you understand? Do you understand? Any more questions? The key thing is you're going to, just as you all found your own symbology, you'll find your own ways to do this. I'm presenting different alternatives so you can find something that really clicks for you. I'm not trying to clone myself, God forbid. You get it? All right. So now we're going to do this as a group. So here's what I want you to do. Find a comfortable space on the floor to lay down. And we don't need to tape the group. Do you want me to go through the steps again? Or you have them written down? I'll go through the steps again, but I want you to get that this notion of transmutation, that rather than stuffing emotion or dwelling on it and retasting it, experience it, and if something is not useful, transmute it. That's simple. What this will do is take all that energy and make it available for something far more useful. So what's the first step? Someone teach me. First step is what? Find a place. Second step, induce a trance in whatever way you induce a trance, right? Yeah, second step is your statement of intent. It is my intent to transmute, refine, purify, redirect, recycle any and all emotional energy in this area of life which has not been useful to me. Yes? And redirect it as pure energy towards the achievement of my vision of who I'm every day more and more becoming. And redirect it as pure energy for the achievement of my vision who I'm every day more and more becoming. This is a hell of a lot better than every day in every way I'm getting better and better. No, you're not. This takes care of all that. This is very powerful.
Sorry, redirected as pure energy.
JD, use your understanding. Rather than ask for direct, I'm going to challenge you. What is it? What is the general concept I'm teaching you? What would we be doing with that energy? You answer me. What are we going to do with the energy that's been purified? Once it's purified and refined, what do we do with it?
We redirect it as pure energy
To do what?
to myself,
To yourself, or to what?
into my efforts to becoming what I'm trying to achieve.
Close, but it's to the achievement of my vision of who I'm every day more and more already becoming. Does that make sense? You get the language there?
Yes.
So what are we doing? We're taking it and now we're going to turn it into a useful direction. Remember, one of the things I talked about is maintaining a vision for yourself that's not dependent on support from the external environment, right? The idea is that people who are consistent depend on their vision and not how they feel in any given moment. Does that make sense? People who are consistently successful don't depend on how they're feeling at any given moment. They depend on their vision. Their vision guides their feelings, not the other way around.
Vision in the sense of mission.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, well, no, yes, Roger, I mean your physical vision.
Yeah, sure.
That's a slip on your part. You're brighter than that question, right? I think you're brighter than that question. Bad, Roger. All right, just checking. You got that? So that's your statement of intent. Then induce your trance, right?
What are the different ways of putting in the time?
333. Yates, have you done the 333-222-111 method with them? Do it.
I haven't done any of those stuff.
Okay, but do it later in the week, would you?
Well, I was gonna do it first thing in the morning.
Okay, the first thing in the morning, that's fine. Okay, there are different ways to induce a trance. We'll teach them to you, okay? If you already have one, use it. Don't worry about it, because just doing the breathing is going to induce an altered state, okay? Next, do the breathing for 10 minutes. Yes? Right? Next step. Call forth your image for purification, refinement, recycling, transmutation. Yes? Whatever it is. You got that?
Yes.
Next step, call forth your image or symbolic representation for what's been troubling you, the troubling emotion, or the set of memories. You understand? However it's represented. Next step, apply the symbol of transformation, transmutation to the troubling emotions and see it being turned into pure energy. Yes? The final step is see that pure energy feeding the vision of who you're every day already more and more becoming. None of this has to happen with any degree of vividness. I say that again, or specificity. It can be as vague or as unvivid as even if you just get the sense that that's what's happening. Just like you ever get the sense that you spelled the word right. How do you know when you spelled the word incorrectly? You feel it. You can feel kinesthetically the word's misspelled, right? Or you ever have someone's name on the tip of your tongue, but you don't know what the name is, but you know how many syllables it is. If you ever forget a word or someone's name, Challenge yourself, okay, how many syllables is it? And you always will get the exact number of syllables. Somehow you know that before you even know the name, yes? Just get a sense. You don't even have to see this vividly. Just get a sense that this is what's happening. Your mind knows how to do this. Your mind already has a set of associations for transmutation, purification, recycling, refining. If you just essentially give your mind the instruction, take the emotion, refine it into pure energy, apply it towards my vision. Your mind will know how to do that. I'm baby stepping you here, giving you training wheels. This is a damn good debugging program to be running on yourself, isn't it? You software guys? Yes.
With the last step where it says, see the pure energy feed the vision of
Yeah,
who or
yeah.
With that, does that vision of who you all want to become and stuff, does that need to be clear? Or
No, it can be
also be symbolic.
It could be completely symbolic. Didn't I tell you that all I see is an image of,
I didn't know if it was
I see a stick image of me smiling, a big smile. It's a stick figure. Yes, is that clear?
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
okay.
None of this at any point has to be done with vividness. None of it. Am I clear? Can I be more clear than that? Claro? Claro. Very good. Now what will happen is after you do this for a while, you can do a shorthand version. You can just set the intent, okay, mind, run that process for me, and it'll do it. Clear? Claro? Claro? This is really good stuff, I'm telling you. This is super duper stuff. For you software guys, it's an incredible debugging program. You're taking all the nasty hackware virus and you're turning it into Norton's you're turning it into Norton antivirus. It's now going to go out there and look for bad stuff for you and destroy it. You're mind fucking your mind fuck. You're interfering with your interference. What happens with patterns of interference when we use lasers? When we use lasers to create patterns of interference, what do we get? Holograms. How do you create holograms? Interference patterns, right? With light. Look it up. So we're taking your interference and we're interfering with it. We're tweaking your tweakedness. We're tweezing your tweeziness. Why not? Why not tweak your tweezedness? I know I'm using that term because he likes to use that term. I'm tweezed, all right? And we're going to tweeze your tweezing. Yes? Oh my God, Shirlene! Psych. Okay, we get it?
Yes.
No, you have a question?
Yes. I'm not getting it.
What are you not getting? What part? Be specific about what you're not getting.
The part that I'm not getting is taking the image, extruding the negative energy, taking the refined energy and putting it into the ideal self or the future vision of myself.
It can be this simple. Look how simple it can be. I'm going to draw it for you. I'm not making fun. It's this simple. So here's how you represent that purified energy, right? Here's the representation of you. That's all you need to see in your mind. See it going into this.
I think the step before that, I take the image, to me it was just like this black circle over here, and I took my image and put it there.
Right.
And it was like straining to me to do that. Like there was like some strain in my body as I was doing that. And after I put it here, I just imagined like there was like a series of slides, and there something was moving across it, and then like this black ball was moving across it, and then after the ball moved on to the next slide, the slide before it turns into this bright color, and I simply took my hand out here, moved it here, and then just pressed it against this stick figure of my my representation of my vision.
Yeah, and?
That did not create, didn't build a state for me. As a matter of fact,
Did I say anything about building a state? Hold on. Did I say anything about building a state? Did I say you should feel some miraculous releasing power flooding through you when you do this? Did I say anything like that? So here's how you're interfering with yourself. You're interfering by creating an expectation that doesn't need to be there. Do you understand? This is another parasitic program you do. The first parasitic program was talking to yourself. The second thing was adding in an expectation that need not be there at all. You may experience that kind of release, you may not. I never said anything about it because it doesn't matter. Did I say that? That's what you, no. So it's the expectation that's out of whack, not the process. So you've now discovered a second bit of parasitic behavior that you do. You understand? Let me give you an illustration. When I was taking some scuba lessons, I thought I was doing things wrong because they explained to me about neutral buoyancy. Neutral buoyancy is, do you scuba at all? Have you ever scubaed?
No, but I've heard you discuss.
Neutral buoyancy is the idea that you don't sink and you don't float. Well, I was realizing that as I thought I had neutral buoyancy, I was bobbing up and down in the water, because when you inhale, your lungs fill with air, you're going to get a little bit lighter. When you exhale, you're going to go down. I had an unrealistic expectation that I'd be straight, complete straight line. I thought I was doing it wrong. So I came to the surface. I inflated my BC and popped up like a cork, saying, I'm not doing it right. And they said, what was wrong? And they said, you were doing it right. So you're doing it right. You understand? That's the flip side of a parasitic behavior that says, I'm doing it wrong, am I doing it right? The flip side of that, that's converted, it's the same thing, it's just popping up in another area. It's the unified field theory of fucking yourself up. You know the unified field theory, the physicists are trying to take every force and make it just a different manifestation of the same one force. Well, it's the same one fucked up force, it's just manifesting in different ways. One way it was manifesting, now it's much quieter, is internal dialogue. Am I getting this? The other way it was manifesting over here is, I'm going to put in something that wasn't actually said. Right? I never said anything about feeling any kind of release, did I?
It's just that the home study courses, when we talk about the
Stop! Don't compare it to what I taught before. Pay attention to what I'm teaching now. That's another aspect of fucking yourself up. False comparisons. Okay? You get it? You're seeing now 3 parasitic programs that I want you to write down what they are, and for each one I want you to follow instructions. I want you to write out what each of the parasitic programs are. One is internal dialogue that keeps going, am I getting it, am I doing it right? The other is creating an expectation that was not in the instructions. And the third one is comparing something new to something in the past. Write them all out and make a symbolic representation for each one. Do you understand? Those are 3 parasitic programs that are fucking you up, but now we already put one aside. We're going to take care of the other 2. Yes?
yes.
You like that? Now, having said that, Roger has done brilliant work. I want you guys to see, since we're going to be dealing with creating symbolic representations, you don't need one. This is from your notes. Look how Roger created his symbolic representation for refining things. Brilliant work, Roger. Do you remember my instructions?
Yes, I do.
Write them down now. Is that your pen? How you doing, boss?
Good.
And you got it? What I want to do is, can you get a good shot of this for the folks at home? Well, I'm going to hold it steady. You do whatever you need to do with it. Should I back up? Pan up, pan down, however you need to do it. You notice what Roger has done here. He's taken each term, converted it into something, and then combined it. Very excellent work. You got that? Can I stop now? Yeah? Okay. Thank you. Look at what he's done here. So he's got a symbol for transmuting. See his symbol for transmuting? It's a circle. Then he's got one for purifying, a bunch of wavy lines. He's got one for recycling, and he's got one for refining. What he's done is refine it. And then he's combined them all. See how he's combined them? Which one, there's one on the, which one finally wound up being the one you used, Roger?
Bottom right.
The bottom right. Why didn't, I'm just curious, there's no right or wrong here. There's no right or wrong answer here, guys. This is an art form, not a science. Although I think there's science involved in it. How come you decided on the one on the bottom right instead of the one on the top left? Did
Okay,
you?
well, you see
I'm just
there's transmuting, purifying, recycling, and refining.
Right.
And that was kind of like my initial pass at this whole thing.
Right.
I just, took a break from what I was thinking about and let my mind wander for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back to it and I thought, what is it that I would like to add to this? And then that's when I came
Good
back
question.
about-
What is it I would like to add to this? Good
I
question.
came back to the idea of amplifying. the power of the transformation, of transmutation. So I thought of amplified there, you've got a small circle being amplified into a big circle, and the big circle sort of wraps around what I had already.
Okay. That's what works subjectively for him. Look here. There's no right or wrong answer. Whatever subjectively works for you is the right answer. Does that make sense? All right. Very good. I'll take questions and then we're going to stop for the day because I think I've given you a lot. But first, let's review. So what did we talk about? We talked about bound to happen. Who keeps fucking with this door? All right. So here's the deal. We talked about the importance of being able to find a way to transmute negative emotion into energy that can be used, and also to create a way to look at areas of your life where you've been fucking up and learn from what you're doing, correct? This is the first big step. If you don't have that limiting emotion, then you can look with a lot more clarity. You don't have to worry about it because it won't cause you pain, right? Does that make sense? And I taught you some beliefs for learning that are very powerful, yes? And when we reconvene, I'm going to show you how to take those beliefs for learning and convert them into symbolic representations that actually get into your right brain and your physiology, yes? I'm also going to teach you the beliefs for being persuasive with other people, yes? Yes? And then we're going to keep exploring other things. Tomorrow, we start again, Yates starts again at 9, and it's either going to be Shirlene or Mark Whitwell. I'm not sure who's going to teach you tomorrow. Yes? And then get ready for the dynamic duo from the backwoods of Georgia, the world's happiest couple, Kim and Tom, Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, it's either going to be Whitwell or Shirlene. They may switch days. Friday and Saturday, it's back with me. Now, I want to take questions, so give me some good ones. Questions. We got to have questions, comments, observations. Anybody? Yes, Doc.
So tonight and tomorrow, what should we do the same exercise tonight and tomorrow, or how would like this?
Oh, okay. How can you use it more effectively? Well, tonight, before you go to sleep, I would do this before you go to sleep. Do this ritual for some area of your life and see if it affects your dreams. That's what I would do. Okay? Good question. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The ritual you've just explained and we practiced,
Mm-hmm.
that example was in connection with one specific area which
Right.
has been
Right.
troubling us.
Right.
Is this the kind of thing that you can do to be proactive about situations which may arise in the future, or is there something different?
This is something different. This is done to transmute what's already there.
Okay. Yeah.
This is done to handle what's already there. Many of you, see, limiting negative emotion is like pouring crap on beautiful contact lenses and everything looks brown. I want to wipe that away so you can see clearly. This is the problem. If you take new material, new technology, new ways of thinking, you try to process it through old bad emotion, you're going to color it. I have a glass here of pure drinking water. How many drops of liquid diarrhea would I have to put in this before you no longer are going to drink it? Okay? You only need a little bit. You want to purify it, all right? Here's an example, purified water. They put it through filters. Is this yours or mine?
Yes, mine.
Oh, well then I'm not going to drink it. Got your germs on it, mate. Yes? Any other, more questions? Anybody? That's it? All this material and you've got it all down?
Confused.
Now, did you follow my directions?
I did, and I wrote it down.
Good boy. Yes?
Would you recommend this? I mean, obviously, when a situation arises and it's stressful, you put your symbol.
Yeah, just real quick.
Beyond that, is this something a daily thing or morning?
Here's what's going to happen. Once you've done this a few times, you can just say, mind, do it unconsciously for me. You can create a trance induction. I had Vince do one for me where he gives me suggestions that every day, more and more, your mind is transmuting. Any remaining bits is being transmuted, transformed. Just give yourself the verbal suggestions. Once you've run through it a few times, you no longer have to do the long form. Your mind will learn this very quickly.
Would you then give yourself maybe like a booster by doing the long form as well?
Yes, every once in a while. You'll find what how often you should do that. Ooh, that's cool. What the fuck is that? A pizza?
It's the sun.
Oh, it looks like a pizza with pepperonis.
Yeah.
We all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question on step 5, when we make the symbolic representation
Yeah.
of negative emotion. During that step, is it necessary that we feel any of the emotion?
No, I didn't say to feel any of the emotion, did I? Nope.
We had like 4 or 5 beliefs that you told us.
Yeah.
I think this process was like for the first belief.
What's that? I-
This process that you learned us. It's like for the first belief, like transforming the negative energy into positive energy. And the other beliefs is like,
I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm not understanding what your question is.
Are you linking those other beliefs that he was talking about earlier in the day?
And what are you asking me to do?
how do I incorporate the other beliefs?
How do you make those beliefs real? We're going to show you that. We're done for the day. I will show you that. I promise. I promise. It's something I do.
So I understood like this process that we did on the floor. Because the first belief that you told us is like...
It is you're right. You made a good linkage. You're saying this process supports that belief that says anything that comes up is coming up to be handled, healed, learned from. You're correct. But that doesn't mean that every belief I taught you will have a similar process linked to it. Okay? But it's a brilliant question. Sehr klug. Verstanden? Verstehe? Fuck you.